Yo, what is up guys, it's me Zach Lee, and we got a whopping 3 games of NBA action to talk about today, so let's just get right into it. It's not every day that we as NBA fans get to see a game that was as great as this one, and even though we're only a little over 20 games into the season, I am already preparing myself for the spectacle that will be the 7-game series between the Golden State Warriors and Toronto Raptors come June. However, before I get into talking about everything that did occur in this game last night and give you my viewpoints on those things, I first had to give my viewpoints on the things that didn't happen last night, aka Stefan Curry not lacing up. Now, there is no question that I would have loved to see Curry play in this game just so we could have gotten more of a feel for what could be in June. However, now that I know the outcome of the game, I am not disappointed by Curry not playing in the slightest bit. See, here's the thing. You could easily point to the fact that the Warriors didn't have Stephen Curry in this game as well as Draymond Green and say, if Curry and Green had played, the Warriors would have won easily. And who knows, you very well could be right. Who's to say that you aren't right? But at the same time, who's to say that you're not wrong either? It's impossible to think that just adding 2 players to a team wouldn't have affected this game in numerous ways. So much would have changed had Curry and Green been available for Golden State last night. Some things might have changed for the better for the Warriors, and some things might have changed for the worst. So since we will never know for sure what the outcome of this game would have been had they been playing, there's no need to talk about it further. So instead, let's just actually talk about what did transpire. This was a matchup between Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant, a matchup where before last season, when Kawhi Leonard lost some of his standings in the NBA by only playing in a handful of games, would have been a matchup of 2 players who fans often debated between as to which one of them was the second best player in the NBA. And look, people are going to get offended no matter which way you look at it. I'm sure some fans, with how well Kawhi has been playing so far this season for Toronto, will say that it's still a debate as to who is better, and others will say that it's no longer a comparison and Durant is clearly the better player. However, which side of this debate you are on is completely irrelevant. It's like debating between a Ferrari and a Lamborghini. The bottom line is both are great, and the one that suits you best is completely personal preference. One thing that's not debatable though is Kevin Durant, as he was unbelievable last night. And I know with every shot he attempted and made last night, Draymond Green was sitting on the Warriors bench thinking to himself, why did I not pass him the ball? Because as a scorer, Kevin Durant is the greatest. Some of the shots that he was taking last night were such a high degree of difficulty that if almost any other player in the league would have attempted them, they probably would have ended up being on Shaq and a fool. But Kevin Durant made those tough shots just seem so effortless. A one-legged, off-balance, turnaround 3 in the face of a defender. Yeah, no problem. And for Durant, that is a tough shot that he takes and makes on what seems like a regular basis, along with a slew of other extremely high difficulty shots that he makes look elementary. And to be the opposing team trying to guard this player, or even to be a fan of the opposing team and watching him sink tough shot after tough shot, it can get very demoralizing very quickly. One of the best ways to describe it would be, imagine if you were playing an NBA 2K online, and even though your opponent was getting all red meters for his shots, they would all still go in anyway. Kevin Durant is so good that unless you are rooting for him to win the game, it kind of makes you hate him. And anytime you watch a player play and find yourself having ill feelings towards that player because of how great they are playing, that right there should tell you how great of a player they really are. But that's enough talking about Kevin Durant. Now let's talk about Kawhi Leonard. He didn't score quite as many points as Durant did last night. Leonard with 37 points while Durant had 51, but just because he didn't score as much doesn't mean that he wasn't equally as impressive, albeit I do wish that he wouldn't have passed up on the potential game-winning shot at the end of regulation. See, Kawhi Leonard over the years though has been known as the no frill, no glitz, no glamour, no fancy move or highlight worthy plays player, but more so as a robot of sorts, who didn't really stand out whatsoever, but at the same time was almost always the best player on the court. That was the Kawhi Leonard of old, and at times, even today, he can still kind of blend in with his surroundings. But more often than not this year, Kawhi Leonard gives you that same feeling that you get when you're watching only the most of elite players play. His ability to create his own shot and break down defenders this year is at a higher level than it's ever been, and it's to the point where even some of the best one-on-one defenders in the league are just rendered useless against the Kawhi Leonard isolation play. And by the way, how many of you guys remember before last season started when we got some reports about Kawhi Leonard supposedly adding yet another aspect to his game, and there was a lot of speculation about what that aspect could be. However, last year we never really got to see it because Kawhi never played. Well, we found out it's definitely his handle. There's no doubt about that now. As for the other games, the first one that we have to briefly talk about here is the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers still without Victor Oladipo, and sometimes Indiana is able to get away with not having their star player, but other times like last night, it would have made a world of a difference had he been on the court, as Indy really could have used someone like Oladipo early in this game when their offense was severely struggling. But then again, the Lakers started out this game were just playing some terrific basketball, especially on the defensive end. JaVale McGee was blocking shots. Lonzo Ball was blocking a couple of shots. Ingram, I believe, had one as well. And their defense was leading to a lot of fast transition offense, which is exactly the type of basketball that LA is trying to play this year. But the thing is, it didn't last the entire 48 minutes, as the Pacers eventually settled down a bit and got back into the game. And had it not been for LeBron James, Indy for sure would have won this game, as LeBron then became the only thing in Indy's way as they tried to complete the comeback from being down 24 early on. I will say though that the brand of basketball that the Lakers want to play is a very tough brand of basketball to play for an entire 48 minutes. Even more so when you get off to a great start like LA did last night, as they started off with all the intensity and playing at such a high level pace. And that is what got them that 24-point lead early on in the game. But when you have a lead like that, it becomes so easy to start slowing down a bit. You start to play with a little less intensity, and then the game goes from a quick up and down pace to a more slow half-court pace. And that is where a team like the Lakers really struggles and a team like the Pacers really start to excel. That is also what the Lakers need to work on the most if you were to ask me. Their half-court offense and defense really have to improve, because you simply can't rely at playing at a breakneck pace for an entire 48 minutes. And that brings us back to the Lakers just not having that great of shooters to space the floor in their half-court offense. The LA is one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the league this year. And in today's NBA, you're going to struggle with your half-court offense if you don't have enough shooters. And for our last game of the night, the Los Angeles Clippers continue to impress me on the year. And I saw some people in the comment section of yesterday's video calling me a bandwagon Clippers fan just because I noted how impressed I had been by them as a team this year. But that's just ridiculous. I will never be a fan of the Clippers or any other team other than the Detroit Pistons. But that doesn't mean that I can't acknowledge when a team has been impressive. And the Clippers have been impressive. So of course I'm going to say that they have been impressive. Anyways, 133 to 121 the final score in this one. LA is now 15-6 on the year, and if they can keep their standing among the top teams in the Western Conference by the time the All-Star break rolls around, then shouldn't Tobias Harris have to be included in the All-Star game by default? How could the best player from a top team in the Western Conference not make the All-Star game? That though is going to bring us to the player of the day, where you guys had the opportunity to vote for who you think was the best player in the league last night by clicking the little eye icon in the top right hand corner of the video. Just remember though, the only players whose team won are eligible to win player of the day. And yesterday, that player was Giannis Antetokounmpo and his 36 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists. That is gonna do it for today's video though. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did and you haven't already, then why not consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on more daily videos. Other than that though, thank you guys for watching. You guys already know that you are the real MVPs, and until next time, I'm out of here. Peace.